The morning sun crests over the 5-acre homestead, stretching long amber shadows across the dew-drenched grass. Beside him, Abby and Winter wait for the signal to move, their tails sweeping the wooden floorboards. Lily, the cat, stretches on the railing, then leaps down to join the patrol. Inside the kitchen, the air is thick with the scent of cinnamon and frying dough. Sherry drops apple fritters into the pan, the oil popping rhythmically. Rob stands at the stove, stirring a pot of beef stew as steam rises in heavy white clouds. The homestead is waking up. Rob and Sherry share a laugh over the events of the previous night, recalling how Winter had sprawled across the center of the bed, leaving them barely an inch of space to sleep. The house feels solid, warm, and quiet against the vastness. The dogs press their noses against the kitchen door, waiting for the first sign of the day's work. The coffee pot gurgles, finishing its cycle. Rob and Sherry step out into the crisp spring air, the morning dew still clinging to their boots. They head straight for the chicken coops, the gravel crunching underfoot. As Rob reaches into the nesting box for brown eggs, a Rhode Island red hen flutters up and lands firmly on his head. He ducks, laughing, while the hen clucks loudly, claiming her perch. It is a daily ritual they have come to expect. They collect the white eggs from the white chickens, tucking them carefully into the basket, and move on toward the barn. The horses, Barbie and Thunder, wait by the gate, their ears twitching at the sound of approaching footsteps. Rob carries heavy bales of fresh hay, the dry grass scratching against his arms as he fills the stalls. Sherry brushes their coats. The cows, including the young calf Hope, graze in the nearby pasture, their steady chewing adding to the morning chorus. The cows move slowly across the pasture, their heads low as they graze on the thick spring grass. Hope the calf stays close to the herd, her movements mirroring the adults. The air is still, save for the distant hum of insects. Then the atmosphere snaps. Ranger stops mid-stride. His muscles lock, and the fur along his spine rises in a sharp ridge. He does not growl. He simply stares, his gaze fixed on the dense tree line. A majestic buck deer emerges from the shadows, its antlers wide and branching, eyes locked onto the grazing herd. Ranger lets out a single, low, authoritative bark that echoes across the field. The sound is a command, not a question. He charges toward the perimeter. Abby and Winter react instantly, flanking him on either side, their bodies low and driving forward. The buck senses the shift in the air. It turns, muscles bunching, and clears the fence in a single, fluid leap. It vanishes into the woods, leaving only the sound of snapping twigs behind. Ranger stops at the fence line, his eyes scanning the tree line. Abby and Winter stand beside him, tails held high, their focus absolute. The perimeter is secure. The afternoon sky darkens, and a steady rain begins to fall, turning the garden soil into rich, dark loam. The flowers seem to drink the moisture, their petals brightening against the grey backdrop. Through the mist, a vehicle pulls up the drive. Debbie and John step out, shielding a box of warm chocolate chip cookies from the downpour. They do not hesitate. They head straight to the pig pens. The water troughs have frozen over, locking the surface in a thick, jagged layer of ice. Rob, Sherry, Debbie, and John work in tandem, using heavy tools to break the ice and clear the debris. The sound of metal striking ice rings out over the rain. They move from the pens to the pastures, ensuring every animal has access to fresh water. As the rain tapers off, the physical exhaustion of the day settles in, but the work is far from finished. Rob backs the truck toward the barn, loading heavy sacks of feed and crates of fresh eggs. At the local food bank, they unload 6 dozen eggs, handing them over to the volunteers. The mission accomplished, the cycle of labor and giving complete. The truck rolls to a stop as the final sliver of sun dips behind the barn, painting the horizon in shades of deep violet. The air has turned cool, carrying the scent of damp earth. Ranger, Abby, and Winter meet them at the gate, their tails sweeping the grass. They follow the group toward the porch, the metallic jingle of their collars marking the slow pace. Rob and Sherry climb the steps. They sink into the chairs, the exhaustion of the day giving way to a quiet rhythm. The dogs settle at their feet, pressing close. Sherry reaches down, her hand finding the thick fur behind Ranger's ears, while Rob rests a palm on Winter's head. In the stillness of the porch, the weight of the day dissolves into a deep, shared sense of peace.